Well, I do not think there's any special feeling because this is who I am, what I've been born with this, so it's part of me. It's not something different or something special. It's what I know. You understand what I'm saying? So I wouldn't be able to compare it to what I do not know. What I know is this, and this is just me. And our upbringing was we were brought up very humbly, and it was not on the clouds, like we are privileged and we are special. No, we're just like regular people. Yes, like you and I. Yes.
Now, during the elections, what Imoro Igala suggested that Hilla Limann should be brought in and be voted as president. Oh my God. Kroba Edusai was the one who said, hey, to be a president in the Republic, you must be very hardworking. It's a very hard job. Now, who are the people in Ghana who are the hardest working and they carry a lot of load on their head, the Kaya people? And then people said, it's the people from the north. He said, that is why you must vote for Hilla Limann. Or the French, or the Brofo, or the Tree. My brother, my sister. Kroba Edusai was a whole different man. And he had a special way of getting people to endorse Dr. Hilla Limann. Zilla, tell me, are you proud to be the daughter of a former president?
Of course, naturally. And not just the fact that I'm a daughter of a former president. It is who we are talking about, the man we are talking about, what he stood for, his ideals, how he raised us and all of that. So I am more than proud. If there's even the word bigger than proud, I would use that word. I mean, I wouldn't trade that for anything else. And it has even nothing to do with the fact that he was president, because that came with his own problems and challenges and all of that. But it was the persona, the person, what he embodied, so indeed I'm really, really proud to be his offspring.
Interesting. Now, you were very young when he was president.
Yes.
Very, very young.
Yes.
Now, what do you remember about his presidency?
Honestly, I don't remember anything.
Wow.
So I was the presidential baby. I was the baby born then. So if you would look in our history, whatever is left of whatever history for that era, you would see that, there was a baby born to the president and his wife, and that was me.
Exactly.
This is me how many years, 40-something years on, and I'm now sitting
God.
here. So honestly, to have any recollection of anything of that era, no, I do not have. My older siblings, yes. So stories we would hear or things I would know is from snippets from them, and of course from my mom. And when my dad was alive, the little we heard. Honestly, when we were growing up, my younger sister and I, he didn't talk politics. We didn't know him on that level. We knew him simply as Dada. Yes.
Dada.
Yes.
Whoa. Now, you were born to a former president, and he himself was born in Bolu.
Yes.
In the Gold Coast at the time, of course, in 1934. Have you been to Bolu before?
Oh, of course. So when we were growing up, my dad being very Pan-African, being traditional, being very indigenous, did not fail to take us to the north. And trust me, we loved those moments. Almost every year, for as long as we could remember when we were older, we used to go to the north, usually in December. And we used to live for those times. My sister and I, we used to be excited by all of that. And so he didn't take that away. And for the older siblings, he made sure that the boys went to Nandom Secondary. The CB was in Tamale. It was regular to go to Gulu all the time. And for the boys, that it was mandatory.
Wow.
To go through there. So he did that bit to instill and to make sure that we knew where we came from.
Interesting.
Yes.
Your mother was also a Sisala woman, full era, right?
She's actually not Sisala. She's from the Mampru Libi area. Yes.
Interesting.
But as tradition will have it, from where we come from, if you are married, you get married to the home. So the home now owns you. So she literally embodied it all. So she actually lived there for a while and actually learned the lingua.
My God.
So, and as it would be, even right now, if she dies, she's owned by the Sisales.
My God.
So she's considered part of us,
Oh my God.
And so it was just one nice big family unit.
Interesting.
Yes.
I will never forget your mother, because when I was growing up as a 6-year-old around that time, in fact, in my area at Moshizongo in Tamale, we had a special song for her. I don't know if you know that song.
No.
And I'm going to sing that song. I mean, it's been a long time, but I'm going to try and remember. That song is over 40 years. Antifulera me ya faro kikadama fuska yaranki kikeso gamumunzo madala 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 dagodia madala 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 dagodia. Oh my
Really?
God.
I never knew. So this is history here. This is the first time I'm hearing
It's
this.
giving me goose pimples already. I know you don't understand what the song means. Do you?
I was listening, but maybe you should sing it again. Let me see.
Antifulera me ya faro kikadama fuska yarangi kikeso gamumunzo madala 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 dagodia madala 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 dagodia.
Yeah, of course I understand. Yeah, I can speak some Hausa, okay? It may not be the best Hausa, but yeah, I can get by.
What does the song say, Zilla? Tell me.
Oh, Auntie Fulera.
Mia Farouk Kadama Fuska.
Yes. Why are you worried, isn't it?
Exactly.
Exactly. We the
Why?
children,
Why is it
yes.
that you are so sad?
Yes.
Is it your children you want? We are your children and we are here.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
thanks be to the Almighty Father. This was a very popular song in Muchizongo.
Really?
And also, yes, also in Tamale.
But what inspired the song, if I may ask?
It was during the elections, and then when we were singing for PMP and
Okay.
Hilla Limann, we had to also find a way to celebrate the woman
The
behind
woman,
Hilla
the man.
Limann.
Okay.
And this was the song for Antifulera.
Oh, wow.
Saying that's why we can't forget this song. I mean, if I
Yeah.
open the phone lines, you will hear people call from far and near telling
wow.
you that they remember this
The
song.
song. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Anyway, I mean, she also passed on, right?
No, my mom is alive. Very
She
much
was
so.
born on the 8th of November, 1945.
Yes.
Interesting. And she's alive.
Very much so. Very well. And strong and kicking.
Can we speak with her?
You mean like now?
Yes, we can call her and let her say
my
a word.
mom doesn't grant interviews like that. She's a pretty difficult woman.
I know.
She will not forgive me if I put her on the spot like this.
Oh my God. I will have to pay her a visit. I will have to pay her a visit.
You do.
But Zilla, tell me, I mean, you are proud of your father.
Yeah.
Today when I was coming to the studio, I just went out there to ask people if they knew who Hilla Limann was. And you'll be shocked that out of the 7 people I spoke to, 5 did not know who Hilla Limann was at all. Are you surprised?
No, actually, I'm not surprised. And that is something that the foundation is looking to rectify. And if we will take a short trip down memory lane, when the coup d'etat happened, and the after effects of the coup d'etat, one of the things that the government of the day, the PNDC at that time, did was to consciously erase a lot of things about Dr. Hilla Limann. They erased. So literally from bizarre burning of GBC to whatever, basically they erased everything or almost everything. So you will notice that when we go back into history, it is very hard to find things on Dr. Hilla Limann. If you go back to what we studied in school, it was always just glossed over. Oh, President of the Third Republic, and that's about it. Nobody talks about what he did. Nobody talks about his tenure. It's just a gloss over, and it was actually intentional. Now, fast forward over the years, minding our own business, the way we were brought up and everything, we've just been very humble, in mind our own business, find our own way, do our own thing kind of vibe. It wasn't something that we put out there, but now that the foundation has been formed, now that we are getting our acts together, putting things together, that's actually one of the mandates, one of the things we want to do, to create more awareness, to get people to know about him, about what he did, the impact he had, how he contributed, to the building of our motherland today, and what he probably could have done if his rule hadn't been prematurely terminated. Yeah.
What did Hilla Limann do?
So, Hilla Limann was actually in power for just about 27 months.
Yes.
And what he achieved is no small feat. Even me, like I told you, my dad never used to discuss politics with the younger two, and it is growing up. And even this is even much later, me finding out a lot and me marveling at the things that he puts in place. No department or no main section of the economy was spared when it came to transport. He built on what was there. So when it came to our airline, in his tenure, he was able to purchase 2 more airplanes. He was able to get, and at that time we were doing well with our shipping lines. He was able to get a couple more of the ships. So he's tackling air, he's tackling water, land. We know that he did a maze of roads. And I think what we would talk about most was is the Bali Bamboy Road, Yes, and that bridge that he did and all of that. The Kuntunsi satellite station. So actually, my dad made that first call to the UK. You know, it had been started under Champon. He came and he took over and he finished it. We did not see what we see today where the governments are trying to claim credits based on what they've done. So you would notice that what we've seen in recent times is one government starts something, another government comes, and because they would not get the credits, they cannot just neglect whatever it is and then move on and start a whole new project because they want to be heralded for that particular project. That wasn't the order of the day then. When he took over, he came under the Nkrumah's fashion, and what he came to do was to build upon what was there already and to also put whatever it is in his stead. Transportation, the Tata buses can be attributed to my dad. All that he did to bring them in, to put transportation. Apparently at that time it was lawless buses, nothing was happening on schedule. He was able to put all of that in place. I mean, he really was able to turn around the economy. Around that time, that is when there was a lot of economic strife, famine, all of that. There were queues everywhere to get food, everything. In just 2.5 years, he was able to turn all that around. There were a lot of plans, there were a lot of things that he was putting in place. Like, I think what we fail to understand is that for any government that comes into power, they need time. And at the time that he came, you would remember that we had gone through a series of military rule from this person to that person. There was a lot of unrest, and when that happens and you're changing government so often, what can we achieve? Everybody comes with their own idea or whatever it is, we're just changing. So there was so much unrest, you know, and in 2.5 years, he did all of this. Who is to say if he had stayed just even 4 years? You know, and I guess, well, people were very impatient and thought that they could do better and come in and thought that it was so easy to do what seemed like it was easy, but indeed was not easy because he made it seem so easy. You know, I think it was a great disservice. And sometimes you think about it, you say, you know, you don't know God's ways and you wonder why things happen the way they do, because this is a selfless person. This is somebody who sacrificed his whole life. My mom would tell you that my dad would always say that, look, somebody has to do it. Somebody has to sacrifice.
Zilla Limann is my guest right here in the studio. We're talking about her father, the former president of the Republic of Ghana, in fact, in the Third Republic. Now, your mother is quoted here as saying that the overthrow of her husband, Dr. Limann, did not come to her as a surprise. Neither did it come as a surprise to Dr. Limann himself. Why do you think it wasn't a surprise?
Well, from what I've gathered, speaking to her, speaking to other people, reading and stuff like that, I think it was the information was in the grapevine that this was looming, a coup d'etat was looming, Rawlings was trying to come back and all of that. And what I've been told was that my father had been advised to terminate Rawlings' life, to get rid of him because he was a threat.
To kill him?
But exactly, literally, simply putting it, kill him, dispose of him, so that he's not a threat anymore and all of that. But my father being who he is, there's no way in heaven and earth my father would do that, and he did not sanction that. You know, so people will say it was probably not wise on his part, but who is he to take someone's life? And at the end of the day, if he's representing Ghana and he's saying that he's all about Ghana, how is he going to take someone's life, regardless of whether the fact that you were a threat or not? You know, so yes, it was purported that there were rumors that it had been discussed and all of that. I guess he probably didn't think it was so looming, so already, you know, in front of him and all of that. But yes, it's no to say that he was clueless and had no idea. I do not think that was the story. There were rumors.
I understand that. Yeah. Now, when he was overthrown and everything was thrown out of sync, there was a house arrest. Where were you? Do you remember anything?
No, so like I said, I was a baby. But so what happened, from what I was told again, we literally had to quote unquote escape. We were fugitives, literally. Wow. And we went to Nigeria. So this is my mother and I. And my little sister was born in Nigeria, you know, and my brother. So my older brother. So we went to Nigeria. We sought refuge there. Shehu Shagari, who was the president at that time, took us in and housed us for the next couple of years whilst they were hunting my dad. My older siblings, they were in the north, they had to change their look. It was very traumatic for the family. They literally had to change their names and go and live with other family members because we didn't know what was going to happen. Obviously, one can only imagine what will happen if they're able to lay hands on one of Hilla Limann's children, considering that they were looking for him around that time, And when eventually my father was found or was caught or was apprehended, now it wasn't as easy as just eliminating him because there was nothing really against him to eliminate. So whilst we were there in safety, at least he's assured that we are okay. He was under house arrest whilst he was being interrogated. What he was being interrogated for, they say crimes, corruption, whatever it is. But is it not interesting and ironic that nothing was found against him? And not just him, all his ministers. All allegations, whatever, none of them was found guilty. Everybody was found innocent because they were doing their work.
If he was innocent, why did they not restore him to the presidency?
Well, you do remember that it was a takeover by force. And I mean, I guess power sort of corrupts. Power is sweet. So Rawlings is here, young man Rawlings. Now he's the head of state. I don't think he was willing to give that away and give that to my dad. I mean, he probably... I'm just saying. Don't go and quote me. He probably justified the fact that, okay, at least I'm not killing you, but hey, I'm releasing you, so you'll be lucky with all of that. Okay. I mean, the fact that he was exonerated on those counts or whatever allegations they had did not necessarily mean that you'll be reinstated, because I think I've not seen or heard anywhere where there's a coup d'etat and without another election or whatever it is. Remember that Rawlings had the military rule for how many years? Was it 12 years?
Yeah, right.
So there was no chance for that story, You do remember in 79 he came on and then a democratic election was held, and that's when my dad won. I'm sure he wasn't about to make another democratic mistake, maybe because he probably wouldn't have won that again, and he ruled us under military rule for 12 years before the story of democracy entered, and then we had elections again. And even then, my father contested.
He did?
Yes, he did.
Why was he not able to rise again to the presidency? I mean, having done quite well within the, 27 months that he was president.
Well, as you can imagine, I mean, he had been out of the game for a long time. You need a lot of resources to run a political campaign and all. This is a man who, after his overthrow, was not working. There was no means for him to work. He was not working. The state was not looking after us. Everything really was my mom. So my mom took over reins and literally put us through school and all of that. And I always say this, I remember as a kid, I didn't understand why my dad was always there. I mean, I woke up to my dad every day. My dad would teach us. He was like at home because his origins, his beginnings, he was a teacher. He was a trained teacher. So he would teach us and all of that, And I remember asking him as a child that, Dada, how come you don't go to work like everybody else, like all the other fathers? Like, why are you always at home, And then in his way that he could explain to my little mind, he said to me, when you've attained the highest position in the land, there's only so much you can do. There's a lot you cannot do. You understand? And my little mind at that time understood it for what it was. So I think that given against all odds, limited resources, all of that, it wasn't going to be very easy for him to just come and then make strides. But impressively, at that time, the PNC, which was the party he founded, was a third force. Right now, it's hard for us to see a defined third force,
true.
Or a third party. But that was the third party that actually made strides then. And if you look at comparatively now with the percentages that even a third party would make comparative to the strides he made, that was actually pretty impressive.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
It quite was. All right, so Zilla Limann is my guest, and we are having a beautiful conversation. All right, so we are remembering Hilla Limann, my brother, my sister. He was a wonderful president, and his government was toppled, and they couldn't find anything wrong. They had to free him. Zilla, I'm going to ask you a sensitive question. Is it true that Hilla Limann got so depressed after the overthrow and he went into so much drinking and all that?
Oh, at all.
Not true. Okay.
Not true at all. At all. I mean, my dad, we were 7 kids. The house was always full. We were enough to keep him going and keep him happy. If indeed he did experience any form of depression, it's not to my knowledge at all. Okay. My house was a happy, merry home. No drinking. I never saw my dad drunk. I must confess that I had a few sips of foam from him. But never at all. He wasn't even in the social space like that. No.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now you're trying to push the legacy up and up and up and up. Do you have the support of the family?
Fully, 100%. So as usual, because we've been so used to doing our things by ourselves and on our own, and our family is a very strong and close family unit. If you know us, you know that we are extremely close. So when I speak for the family. And yes, this is full support of the family, and we are in one mind and in one thought, and our minds and our thoughts are all aligned when it comes to this, the legacy, pushing it forth, making his name known, and helping in our own small way with human rights, education, human development. This is what our objectives of the foundation encompasses: human rights, education, human development, and of course creating the knowledge and the awareness of this great man who once was and sacrificed for this country.
Do you have anything to do with the PNC that your father so much loved and, he helped found?
Well, unfortunately, at the moment, no. So, like I said, I would always say I was very young, when he founded it and everything. And in all honesty, I would say that none of us, his kids, have really taken on the political journey or political line. Now you can't blame us for not pursuing politics, considering that we were so marred by politics. Everybody has followed, we were very well educated. Everybody has followed their own trajectory. Not to say that we will not probably, or not, one of us will not probably eventually decide to veer into it. But right now, since we at that time we were not focused, we're not involved in the party, and the party kind of went along its lines. It's not it's not a place, we are not personal, like intertwined, very involved in the party affairs.
Wow.
Yes, we are not.
Here we see something interesting that is out. It says 26 years on, Hilla Limann Foundation. An excellent scholar, a fine diplomat, a true statesman. As we celebrate the 26th anniversary of his passing and reflect on the life and legacy of His Excellency Dr. Hilla Limann, let us be guided by the spirit of unity and progress and strive for a Ghana where compassion and justice intertwine. For in that we can build a nation where the strength of our diversity paves the way for peace and the pursuit of a better future for all.
Yes.
Wow. So when was the foundation founded?
It was founded it was launched it was founded in 2006, launched in 2018. Yes.
What do you intend to do with this foundation?
So like I said, because basically what our objectives encompass: human rights, human development, the betterment of the average Ghanaian, as you see encompassed in that statement. Education. My father was a big educationist, and if you know his story from his humble beginnings and to where he made it to the highest level, that is something. And like I told you, I said he was our teacher at home. That's all we knew growing up, So that is what the foundation in our own small way is trying to embark upon. So we are now putting our acts together, and trying to, come up with a lot of activities to make this happen. This year, we plan to we are looking more on the educational trajectory, trying to collaborate more with those institutions that bear his name, to enhance on and do certain projects, activities. In the past, we've already done outreaches, medical outreaches, philanthropic and aid, and little minor things to get the foundation going out there. But from this year, we are looking to amplify it a little bit more.
Interesting. Now, has it been celebrated enough? I mean, there's a Dr. Limann Hall somewhere at the University of Ghana and some other such, monuments kind of. Do you think that it's been celebrated enough?
No, I don't think so. I do not think that just naming schools, just naming roads, just putting up edifices without even knowing about the human being is enough. The fact that he's not known, like nothing is known about him. Like I told you, a deliberate attempt was made to erase his story, his contribution.
This is
I do
3
not
FM.
think. No, not at all. I do not think he has. We haven't even hit the tip of the iceberg. He has not been celebrated.
Interesting. How would you want him to be celebrated?
Well, I think for me, it will start with the awareness creation. It will start with knowing what he did. It will start with our history books not having 2 lines about Dr. Hilla Limann. His whole era being summarized in 2 lines. It encompasses knowing a little bit more about who he was, what he did, what he stood for. You know. So yeah.
When Rawlings, who overthrew Hilla Limann, finally died and was going to be buried, did you say a prayer like, now finally you will meet my father and we
Like
will see?
really?
Did you say a prayer like that?
This is 3
It sounds like you would have said a prayer like that. Oh, no, not at all. So, the irony of life, okay? In as much as we were growing up and it's like Rawlings and the name Rawlings was like some taboo, my parents did very well not to instill hatred in us. You would, look, if you didn't know, especially like I always say for the younger two, because we didn't know much and we were literally born in the space, we didn't even understand the depth of a lot until we grew up.
Right.
And it wasn't one of those situations where there was bitterness in the house and, you'd see my dad slandering on my mom. It wasn't so at all. So it's not going to be a natural thought process to be happy about someone's demise and to say all of that. You understand what I'm saying? But it's not also a moment where I'm going to be sentimental and crying because I do not know you on that level and I don't have that kind of bond. Life happens. We would all go. The question is when and how.
I have 2.5 questions to ask you and we'll be done.
Okay.
Now I'm going to ask half the question right now and I'll be left with 2. The half question is this. Hilla Limann, was he a Muslim or Christian?
He was none of the two. And this question was interesting when we were growing up. So we are Christian. My mom is Christian. She raised us the Christian way. Portion of her family is Muslim. Actually, her upbringing was Muslim and then she became Christian and all of us Christian. But my dad wasn't. And as we were growing up, when we are going to church on Sunday, my dad would never go. And my dad would ask you, are you not going to church? Are you not late for church? He would push that agenda. And again, old enough, we asked him. And when we are filling forms and he asked, religion is your dad, and he said to us, he's neither a Christian, neither is he a Muslim. He's a traditionalist. He will follow more his tradition. Not that to say he was a practicing. If you say traditional, you probably think jumping around and holding talent. No, not on that level. But he was in touch with his roots and his traditional side. He was not a Muslim. He was not a Christian. He was a respecter of all religions, faiths, and all. That was him.
Do you know if Rawlings ever visited Hilla Limann after the overthrow?
Not to my knowledge, and I haven't heard that story. Maybe if that happened, maybe under house arrest, I do not know. But when he was finally released to his home in Teshinungwa, where we all grew up, no. Personally, I never saw Rawlings in that house. I have not heard of any recount of any story. I do not know if, to the best of my knowledge,
did he receive ex gratia monies paid to former presidents? Did he get that?
No. So under Rawlings, like I said to you, it was literally, I don't even know what the word the word to use. No, he did not. So like I said, my mom literally took the reins and did a lot to raise us and take us through school. It was, however, when Kufuor came into power, that's when he started to reinstitute and try and put things in place, to put all of those things, work on all and put. And as we speak, it's always an ongoing process. It looks like every year there's a different trajectory, story, reports, which dictates how, which, what. And with our upbringing and us being on our own all these years, it's not for us to be just chasing after all of that. At the end of the day, during the darkest moments and darkest years, we survived and made it through. God has always been with us and for us.
You didn't have any scholarship, government scholarship, for being a former president?
Not at all. I didn't even know that existed when we were growing. It was on our own merits. And like I said, our dad was our home teacher. So he would teach us.
Did you go to medical school?
Yes, I went to medical school.
So
University of Ghana Medical School, Kolebu.
Did you complete?
I completed.
Oh, so you're a doctor?
I'm a medical doctor.
Oh, wow. Are you practicing?
I am practicing, but not practicing.
Wow.
So I'm practicing, but not full time. The business also calls Rocks Wache. That's the business, that's the face. But on the other side, I'm practicing. I keep my license valid. I do a little here and there. But who knows? Maybe I'll go back full time into medical practice.
This is unassuming. Oh, so you're a medical doctor?
Full.
I'm going to ask you a stupid question. Please
Okay.
forgive me. Why did you marry a rapper?
You go where the heart calls,
Oh,
isn't it?
Jesus have mercy.
Irrespective of whether you have a title, being a rapper or a doctor, a lawyer, whatever, love calls and you go where love calls you.
Interesting. Whoa. Finally, Zilla, before you go, did Reggie Rockstone know that you were a former president's daughter at the time that you met for romance?
For romance. He sure did, and I can assure you that was quite intimidating.
Oh, wow.
Yes, because I mean, it's not every day that you meet a former president's daughter.
That's
and
right.
You are just going to court her and marry her.
Wow.
So that was very intimidating. And he will tell you that trip to Golu in the Upper West, close to the border, was no joke at all.
Wow.
Because you would make that trip regardless of who you are. If you want to marry a daughter of the land, of the Sisala land of Golu, you would go to Golu.
Rewind to the day that you decided to marry Reggie Rockstone. Would you still marry him?
Yes, I will. I don't think I would find any better match. We are a match made in heaven. Not to say that we don't have our differences, and that is what makes it good, because we always have different ideologies or different mindsets. But at the end of the day, it's the differences that bring us together. But in all honesty, when I sit back and I look, I cannot think of another match. I cannot even imagine Reggie with somebody else or me with somebody else. It's just, it's perfect. It's like the two of us with our personalities or whatever it is. It's that match. It was like I don't even know how to explain it. And if you look back, and so on hindsight, and this is what we didn't even know, we actually did go to the same primary school. He went to Sokli, I went to Sokli again. This is like 10 years apart. He went to Achimota, I went to Achimota. He was in McCarthy House, I was in McCarthy House.
Wow.
It's like it's like everything, and it just happened for us to meet.
Okay, so we have closed. Which is your favorite Reggie Rockstone song?
Hey, this is hard, all of them. All of them. Let me see. Yeah. I think one of my favorites, I don't know if you have it, to be a miracle, because that album is the last show album. It's Ajay. He did it with Kwabna Mafia.
Kwabna Mafia.
Yes, Ajay.
Yes. I remember Kwabna Mafia.
Yes, he did that with Kwabna Mafia. And that is one of my favorite songs.
Did he make money from music?
Yes, I would believe so. But as to did he make enough music as he should, that's a different story altogether.
Okay.
But it's a new day today where technology helps us to harness our potential and harness what we can get out of it. But back in the day, it was more of a sacrifice, if you'd say. And I think that between him, his executive producer, who was his dad, DJ Rab of blessed memory, whom without I don't think Hip Life would be, and all the other pioneers that supported, it was more of an investment than a money-making venture.
All right. So my producer says we should go, but let me fire last question before we go. This is the very last one.
Aisha, we passed 2.5. This is like 5.5.
When Shatawale said that this is a big man who lives in his father's house and is selling wache, how did it make you feel?
So, if anybody who know me know that I'm not really big on social media. I'm not following the social media. And so when Reggie told me, the first time I'm like, it is crap. Yeah, it is crap. So what is it to you? How does that enrich you, help you? Why do people take delight in talking about people, slandering people, when you think you are doing so? Then what will happen? Did you not grow in your father's house? And if you didn't, then tough, that's for you. And if I'm selling wache, and so what? Am I not representing Ghana? Am I not representing something indigenous, something that we own, putting something on the map? What are you doing? So what right do you have to come and stand and talk about what I am doing when I'm working hard to earn my keep? Wache, we eat every day. Wache is Ghana. Ghana is wache. Rocks wache today we are saying.
Rocks wache today we are saying. Oh my God, have mercy. Thank you so much, Zilla, for talking to us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Trust me, if I was given the opportunity, I will talk and talk and
I'm
talk
sure.
and talk and talk. Oh my God, this is beautiful. Thank you so much, Zilla. I appreciate you for coming on the show.
Thank you too.
And I leave you with a Reggie Rockstone song. Oh my God, have mercy. Rocks watch it today. We are